Hey, this is Jay, and this is a quick tutorial for getting started with a scheduled Sora 2 system using n8n. We're also going to use Google Sheets to, of course, pull in our data for the video. So this is going to assume that you have a Sora 2 API key. And if you don't, you could definitely replace this with some other AI video system. And there are some third-party ones that you could probably swap this out with as well. But I will touch on those later. So for now, the system is scheduled to, whenever you want to do it. So right now I've got it at 9 a.m., but let's go ahead and run this real quick. And what it's going to do is it's going to read my video prompts database here, and it's going to grab the next one that's ready. And then it's going to use that to then go and request a video from OpenAI. And those requests usually take a minute. So it's going to loop through and wait for that to finish. So we request the video, then we check the status of it. Obviously, the status is going to be not complete immediately. So we're just going to verify that it's not complete. And then we're going to wait 30 seconds and keep looping until it is ready, or it is actually status of complete. And then we will download the video, upload it to Google Drive, and then update our spreadsheet to say that we've got the video. So this is probably going to take a few more minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish up, and then we'll come back when it is done. It usually takes 2 to 3 minutes. So we'll be cycling through here probably 5 to 6 times. So get back to that in a minute. And actually, quick note, while we were waiting, I was talking about the third-party app. So if you don't have access to Sora 2 yet, you will have to get an invite code from somebody. But there are platforms that are offering access to the Sora 2 API. I've seen quite a few of them floating around and being recommended. I'm not sure. I don't know. I can't recommend those directly just because I'm not sure that they are following terms of service for OpenAI's Sora 2 API. So you can use those at your own risk. I mean, I'm sure that's what a lot of people are doing. A lot of other platforms are recommending. But I'm going to stick with the legit way here. So that's what's going on here. But you can very easily swap this out for Sora 1 or, VO3 or something like that instead. But I know there are some really cheap platforms that are third party. So if you want to use those, you could do that as well. But I personally would probably not recommend it. Okay, there we go. And it's done. So now we are downloading the video. It has completely rendered from OpenAI. And so once that's done, we then upload the video to Google Drive. And then we update the Google Sheet to then show that we have created the video and we've got a link to the actual file. That'll take a minute actually while it processes in Google Drive, but we can look at the video here. And here we go. As he falls over at the end. Looks pretty good though, pretty good. All right, so I'm going to recreate this system so we can walk through this a little bit more. So let me go ahead and open a new tab here. All right, and let's rebuild it from scratch. All right, so like I mentioned, I am running this off of a scheduled trigger. Obviously, you can trigger this however you want. So, you can do 9 a.m. or whatever. And then my other quick tip here is that if you don't want this to run every day, but you only want it to run certain days of the week, you can always do a custom cron, and there's a more advanced expression where you can say only run Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. or whatever. So you can definitely check that out. I do have a video that actually talks a little bit more about that scheduling in depth, so you can check that out as well. But we're going to have this run once a day at 9 a.m. We are going to kick it off by going to Google Sheets. And so I'm going to get some rows from Google Sheets. And so I've just created a simple Google Sheet like I've already shown you here. I just need a prompt because you don't want to run the same prompt every time, I'm assuming. So you can create a nice little backlog here of all the prompts of videos that you want to create. And then I have just a simple status just so you don't keep grabbing the same one over and over. So we're going to start. I was just using a status of ready. So we'll say ready. And we'll say cat learning how to drive. And then the link here, just so you can have a link back to the document if you need to refer to it or connect this to another automation later. So the Google Sheet just has those columns. And then go ahead and reference that sheet. So I'm going to reference my video prompts sheet. And we're just on sheet 1. So I do add a filter here. So I'm going to say column status. And I say status is ready. That way we're describing that first one that's ready. And speaking of grabbing the first one, don't need an extra column. But I want to add another option for return only first matching row. And that way it will work down the sheet and just find the first one that matches. So it will safely ignore any of the other ones that are created because it's only looking for ready. But pretty straightforward there. So we just grab that sheet. and it should give us some data. So there we go. Cool. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're just going to call OpenAI. But we're going to call the API directly. Unfortunately, there is not a node for this yet. So n8n's got some updating to do as far as getting that stuff built in. There's no Sora node or anything like that. So I'm going to go back to this one real quick. I am assuming, again, like they already have an OpenAI account, so we're going to take advantage of that. But we're going to call the URL directly. So we're going to do an HTTP request node. So go back to here. So we've created an HTTP request node. The method is post. We're going to call the API URL for api.openai.com/v1/videos. So this is how you're going to request a video get created. For authentication, we're going to do predefined. So you can do predefined credential, and then you can just search for OpenAI. And it'll use your existing credentials if you already have one. So hopefully you've already got that set up. If not, you can go sign up on OpenAI's website and get that set up as well. So then after that, we've got our credentials. So we're going to go on that. You could do either way. I ended up doing actually a form data just because it kind of keeps it pretty straightforward. So I think we just need the model, which is going to be Sora 2. Actually, let me double check that. We're doing, yeah, model is Sora 2. So just that. And then we need our prompt. So then whatever that ends up being. So we're just going to drag that in from the spreadsheet. And then the last one, there's a couple of them actually that are optional, but here I'm going to include the time. And I actually just hard-coded it. So say seconds to say how long it is. And you can do 4, 8, or 12. So going to go ahead and just hard-code it for 8. If you wanted, you could actually potentially add another column here to the spreadsheet to have different lengths of video if you wanted. But we're going to stick with the hard-coded 8, so you can adjust that if you want. So we've got our seconds, we've got prompt, and we've got Sora 2. By default, I believe it's doing like 720 by 1080. So as you saw, it was a vertical video, so like a mobile style video. But you can also provide a different aspect ratio or resolution if you'd like. So by default, it's going to do just that. So I'm going to stick with that for now, but you could also update it if you wanted. Actually, let me double check real quick. Yeah, so over here in the documentation for the OpenAI Sora 2 API, models included, our prompt. You could put an input reference, so you could pass in an image if you want to use that as a base, and then size. Size is how you'd be able to change the width by height. So by default, like I mentioned, it's 720 by 1280, but you could readjust that to whatever size you want. All right, so now this should be all that we need to be able to create our video. And so this is actually going to be an asynchronous process. So when we do this, it's actually going to kick off that call, and we get a request completed, but it comes back the status of queued. So in this next one, we're going to do something similar. We're going to do an HTTP request, and we're just going to do a get. And so we're just going to go and double check if that has changed status or not. So we're going to leave it as get, and then we're going to just pass in. So let me copy this real quick. The URL is just, again, api.openai.com/videos, and then slash the ID of the video that we just created. So in the last one, when we requested to create the video, it returned an ID. And so we're going to use that ID here, and we're just going to slap that on the end of that URL to say, okay, give me the status of that video. And so if the status is still there, probably should provide authentication. So we need to provide predefined credentials again. We're going to do OpenAI. And there we go. So since it's just a get, that's all we need. We need to authorize that you're allowed to access that, and then check the ID status. And so we can see the status is still in progress. So this is where we start the loop. So what we're going to do after that is do an if, and we're going to check that status. So if the status is equal to completed, then we're going to continue on. But if it's not, then we are going to wait. So we're in the false node here. So it is not complete. And then we are going to go to wait. And so I'm just leaving it at 30 seconds. Again, this could probably be adjusted to the length of your video. If you only did a 4-second video, I think it only takes a minute or less. So you can always adjust your wait amount, but probably at least 30 seconds because it's going to take a little while. But all this is going to do is wait and then go back and then double check again and see what the status is. So we can go ahead and do this again. Still in progress. So then if we execute that, it'll say, okay, it's not ready yet. And then just run a wait. And so it'll wait for 30 seconds, call it again, and then see what the status is again. So once it's done, we are going to do another HTTP request node to call the API directly. And we are going to do another GET, I believe. So forgive switching around. So we're going to actually download the video. And for this one, we do another GET. Go. So I'm back in my other path here. Still waiting. It's still not complete yet. So while we're doing that, we're going to fill this other one in. So assuming the status was completed, we are going to call a very, very similar URL like the last two. So we're still doing api.openai.com/v1/videos. And then we're still using the ID of the video. So that we can just drag that in from the if, which is fine. That shouldn't change. But then we're doing /content. And so by doing that, that tells it like, hey, give me the actual content of the video. And then we've checked beforehand to make sure that that video actually exists. It's done processing. And again, we will need our predefined credentials to make sure we're allowed to access that. So do OpenAI. And that should be it. I mean, that's going to give us the download of the video once it is done. So at this point, it probably should be done. Let's go ahead and check. Okay, now we have, after some n8n desyncing issues, I think we're good to go. We have another video actually generated, and the workflow is cooperating in real time again. So we can check out this new video real quick. A lot of quick cuts in that one. That one's much more active. Okay, so now we have our video. We can go ahead and upload that video. And I was a little fancy with the naming of this. So what I did was I wanted to grab the prompt as part of the name. So I'm going to grab the prompt from the beginning. Oops. Go ahead and drag that in. So maybe right above my camera here. All right, so I'm going to drag the prompt in here to begin the name. And then what I'm going to do is replace all of the spaces just to make the naming a little bit more friendly. So we're going to replace all spaces with a dash. And then in case your prompts get really long, I'm going to do a substring. So we're going to do substring starting at 0 all the way to about 180 characters. So if your prompt is longer than 180 characters, it'll just stop after 180 characters. And so that we're going to use that to be part of the naming of the file. And then I'm going to tack on a date as well, just because if you're going to be running multiple just in case in the same day or whatever, I want to be able to hopefully be able to distinguish between them. So I'm going to do now.format. I'm going to format the date of year, month, day. And then I'm also going to add time, just in case. If you're doing a bunch of them back to back, we can just make sure there's a little bit of an effort to distinguish them or differentiate them. So I'm going to add hour, minute, second. So there's less of a chance that they'll have the exact same name in case, again, you're making a lot of videos. But if you're running it once a day or whatever, you shouldn't really run into this issue very much. But there we go. So that gives us a much more dynamic, unique name for the file. Gives you an idea of what the actual video is. So you've got the prompt from the video and then the date that it was generated. At least the date that it was uploaded. So yeah, and then I mean, you can just upload it to whatever folder. So I've actually got a Sora video folder. So Sora videos. And that's where I will be uploading the video. So it should take a minute. It's not a huge file, so it shouldn't take too long. And then to wrap it up, go back to Google Sheets. And we're going to update the row. So we grabbed a row at the beginning. So let's go back to the same document in the first sheet. And we're just going to update the status. So we can match the column on the row number, probably the safest match. And then we'll grab that back from the beginning. So row number right here. And then change the status to created or whatever you want to call it. And then we do have a column for link. So I am also going to provide the web view link. So that will actually link it to the one that you can view, because if you do the web content link that has that export equals download, so that'll be one where if you click on that link, it just automatically downloads the file. in this case, we're just going to use the web view link. So if I do that, it takes me to the actual video, which I think has not processed yet, but at least it's there. So that is pretty much it for this workflow. So let me go ahead and execute that real quick. Make sure that we update the document. It looks like we did. So if we go back to the video prompt, looking like we are all set. So that pretty much, that pretty much wraps it up for this one. That is just a quick system for getting automated scheduled rather creation of Sora videos using your own Google Sheets bank here. So I will have the link for this down below in my Skool community. There's 500 plus members, so we're slowly growing. So if you want to learn more AI stuff and keep doing things like this, definitely join and check it out. The workflow will be in there for free. So if you're looking for that, that's where that will be. So I'd be happy to see you in there. So thank you very much for watching. In the meantime, definitely leave me any other comments or questions or anything else you might have, what other videos you'd like to see. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next one.